Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us as we continue to tell your story. Now, today is International Day of the Girl Child, and the day is being commemorated under the theme Unscripted and Unstoppable. The International Day of Girl Child focuses attention on the need to address the challenges girls face and to promote girls' empowerment and the fulfillment of their human rights. Adolescent girls have the right to a safe, educated and healthy life, and not only during these critical formative years, but also as they mature into women. On the 18th of September, the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities attained cabinet approval of the National Sanitary Dignity Implementation Framework. Now, the framework operationalizes girls' and women's call for universal and equitable access to sanitary dignity in the country. To talk to us more about this initiative, we joined now from our studios in Pretoria by the Chief Director for Social Empowerment and Participation from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability, Dr. Ntsiki Manzini Matebula. Doc, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on SA Today.
Good afternoon, Patlisa, and to the viewers, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, before we talk about this framework, really, let's just reflect a bit on the importance of this day. Why must we celebrate a girl child?
Well, I guess the importance of celebrating a girl child really is recognizing where girls come from and the challenges that they've had in the past, but also recognizing that there's a lot of progress that has been made internationally as well as in the country, and therefore this becomes quite important for us to celebrate them because there have been many hurdles and now there's been a lot of achievements in terms of the human rights of the girl child.
And we talk about a healthy...
Girls today are able... Okay, sorry.
All right, sorry, but I was saying that we talk about a healthy environment for girls in the country, and I suppose we're observing this day here in South Africa at a time when being a girl is not a nice feeling, so to say. It's a painful feeling where we are being abused, girls are being raped, girls are being violated, so to say. So we are dying at the hands of those who are supposed to protect us as young girls.
Indeed, the environment that girls are growing up in is very difficult, largely because of the high levels of gender-based violence. But having said that, today more girls have access to education. More girls are able to choose what type of family planning methods they would like to use. So I do believe that we do have opportunities despite all the challenges that we're facing, particularly in terms of gender-based violence.
Now, back to the Sanitary Dignity Implementation Framework. Talk to us about this framework really, and what does it aim to achieve?
So the aim of the Sanitary Dignity Implementation Framework is to ensure that there are norms and standards in terms of the provision of sanitary products to young girls. But it's also to ensure that there's an integrated and coordinated approach in terms of how provinces implement their programs. It also requires that there should be intergovernmental cooperation. So generally you'll find that governments work in silos, but what the framework does is really to put together departments so that they can work together, because the framework is not just, sanitary dignity is not just about providing pads or sanitary products to girls, but is also to ensure that the girl child receives education and the boy child on puberty education, to ensure that there's girl-friendly water supply, sanitation and hygiene. In addition to that, it's also working with other sectors like civil society as well as the private sector. And also with the framework, what we are looking at is to promote learning as well as participation of women in the economy, so in the sanitary dignity value chain. This would be through distribution, it would be through waste management and disposal, and ensuring that the provision of services is provided by women, youth and persons with disabilities.
And I think quite important, the framework also recognizes the cost to the girl child due to absenteeism from school as a result of menstrual pain. Talk to us about that particular point.
Indeed. So one of the objectives of the framework is to ensure that there's improved learning capacity. And what really this means is that it is to keep the girl in child, so retention. Generally, what happens is that when a young girl is menstruating, some might not come to school because of the pain. So the idea is that girls must know about menstruation, so provide puberty education at a very early in the process. So like, for example, at the age of 10 or 11, where girls get to know and understand their bodies so that they can then manage their periods. That is with the right product, but also like when they suffer pain, then this as well can be how they are able to manage their pain. Sometimes girls will stay at school because of the pain, but sometimes it's also the facilities at school that you find that the facilities are dirty, and therefore some girls do not go to school because the facilities at school are dirty, and then they are also seen as unclean, and it's not a hygienic environment for them to participate in. But yes, it is true that some girls stay away from school because of pain, and then the framework really would be to educate and to ensure that schools do provide pain management for young girls.
I wonder if pain can really be managed, especially that particular one. But we know that about 3 provinces have initiated their own programs in this regard. I think it's in Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal and the Northwest. How will this framework be incorporated to the already existing programs as well? And what about other provinces?
So I'll start with KwaZulu-Natal, because KwaZulu-Natal did have a program prior to the framework. They launched their program in 2016. But the idea is that all provinces really need to integrate and align their programs with the framework. So there's various aspects of the framework. Now, a province like KwaZulu-Natal, what would be important is to ensure that their monitoring and evaluation systems are in place so that we get to better understand the implementation in that province. Then you have a province like Mpumalanga, which only started late in the last financial year, which was around March. And now they would then be able to start off their programs with aligning it to the framework. And then you have the Northwest, which just recently started, and they're using a different model. But again, what is expected is that each of these provinces must ensure that they align their programs to the framework. And in particular, what is important is the intergovernmental and interdepartmental cooperation. The integration, if you look at a program like KwaZulu-Natal and Northwest, their programs are being implemented through the Department of Basic Education. So there can be integration there because there is already the integrated school health program as well as the care and support for teaching and learning program. So this framework can then be linked to that. And then a program that like in Mpumalanga, you've got social development. So social development would then have to work very closely with the Department of Education as well as the Department of Health and other departments to ensure that there's alignment to the framework.
Yeah, and of course it's a beautiful initiative. This is what we've all been calling for, free sanitary products, just as condoms are also free. But when are we likely to see the full implementation of this framework?
So the framework is being implemented incrementally, recognizing that even the resources available, there's competition for resources. What we are hoping to see is that currently we've received 157 million from the National Treasury. So this is the amount that provinces received for 1920. And then obviously once we have results from the implementation, we are likely then to see how best we can improve. At this point in time, it's really ensuring that we better understand the programs on the ground and then how to improve on the framework, the cost of the products. Also recognizing that there's also going to need to be a product mix. There's the reusable pads as well as the menstrual cups and the sanitary products. So we have to look at this from a sustainable perspective as well.
All right, Dr. Manzini Matebula, we'll leave the discussion at this for now. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show.